Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Yellow Kings podcast. Hope everyone's having a great week, weekend, whatever you are listening to this podcast, your commute to work, you're at work, you're in the shower. I don't know. Don't tell me. But in this episode, we want to cover a topic that, it's become more and more, I guess, like accepted and widespread. But it definitely wasn't when Thomas and I were growing up, going to school, going to college, and I think it only became popular in the past couple of years. And that's the idea of mental health, therapy, and just that whole Shazam, right? Of like, I don't know how much Asian culture ties into this. It definitely does to some extent, but we kind of just want to touch upon that topic in this episode. I guess like more of a serious episode than what we're usually trying to do, just to like, show a different side of us as well. Talk about something more sensitive in terms of the topic. But kind of let's start this way. Let's get right into it. What has been your experience with mental health throughout your life?
Yeah, I think the term mental health was not really a thing I even really knew existed throughout high school, and it wasn't really until college that I started taking it more seriously. I'll be honest, high school, I did pretty well in high school, like socially as well as academically. So I had a great high school experience. I did not struggle at all. Some might say I peaked. Who knows? Still TBD. But definitely during college, that's when I started. Right, that's when I peaked, and now I'm on the down.
No, dude, don't forget you worked at Google, dude. Tier 1, baby.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay, back to serious.
Yeah. No, and then I think it was during college that I started to learn more about like having more mental health struggles. And I think a lot of it culminated in with like academics struggling and just feeling like worthless about myself because my whole identity was tied to my academic performance. I was, like I mentioned, in high school, I did really well at academics. But then on top of that, I think and then also on top of that, in college, I actually developed an eating disorder. I was bulimic for like the first 2 years of college, and I definitely should have gotten professional help, but at least at that time, I just didn't really know where to go. I felt like I could do it on my own, and luckily I was able to get through it, and I kind of went past that phase. After my second year of college, so starting my junior year onwards, I've been pretty good about that. But yeah, it was a dark time for sure, and still even nowadays going through social media as well as trying to create my own companies through entrepreneurship. I definitely go through my own mental health struggles right now. I've gotten better at managing it, understanding what burnout feels like. So it's been a whole up and down process, and I'm still working through right now. But what about you? What's your history with mental health?
Yeah. I think for me, so I had a little bit of a struggle with mental health when I was in high school, because just like typical academic stress, being like, I got to do well in school, I got to go to college and all this stuff, but nothing I'll say like super major, right? Just typical like high school academic Asian American mental health struggles. When I went to college, I think my first, we can dive deeper into like each episode later, but just brief summary. In college, my first encounter with mental health again was honestly tied into my career once again. Like I said, I didn't want to be an engineer, but I feel like I was stuck on this path, this track of like being an engineer. And I was like, crap, I really want to break out this, but I wasn't sure how to get out of it, right? Which just eventually led me to kind of pivot my life and go into investment banking, which really just like kind of solved the problem. So I don't even know if that was mental health or not, but yeah, it was the first time I went to therapy. I talked about it and just like feeling stuck. I think like it was the idea of like I felt stuck. And then like my next time I really started to struggle with mental health. I mean, I always struggle with mental health in terms of just like being self-critical, being like, very hard on myself, getting down, but nothing to the point where I'm like, oh, this was an episode of my life, right? But I think like the latest episode I definitely had, and you can probably connect with this, it's like entrepreneurship. It's hard. And I think the biggest thing that I've been struggling with just in the past 2 years, and I'm still working on to this day, I'm not here to be like, oh, I'm past it and like everything's good, everything's dandy, I can talk about it and like provide advice. This is something I'm still going through every single day on a daily basis, but it's kind of like feeling stressed out and just being like, did I make the right choice? Because I left my investment banking job and decided to go on this entrepreneurship endeavor on my own. And just in the past 2 years, I'm looking at all my friends. I look at you, still building income, still building wealth. And for lack of a better word, like I didn't make much money in the past 2 years. Not much. Like maybe a couple $1,000s here and there, but nothing really, really worked out for me until like I'll say like the most recently, just past couple of months, that things start to have like more of an uptick. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster journey of just like ups and downs and like kind of like learning about a lot about myself and what I value just in the past 2 years alone.
Yeah.
But I kind of before I talk too much about myself, I want to dig deeper into your story because I feel like bulimic males, you don't hear too much about that. So, okay,
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. How the fuck do you become bulimic?
Dude, that's a great question that I wish I had like a clear cut answer. But no, it was so crazy because you're right. I do think eating disorders in general are much more openly talked about. Like there's a bigger support system amongst women just because it affects more women than men. But I think a lot of guys actually have some variation of an eating disorder, but they just don't call it that because they're too macho for it. But I for sure had an eating disorder. Basically, I think the way that it led up to, so for those of you that don't know, bulimia is when you like binge eat, then you eat too much, then you throw up to basically not digest the food. So then it's just like a vicious cycle of binge eating, throwing up, binge eating, throwing up. And I think the way that it really all started was, number one, I think the way that it started was that I care so much about how people perceive me. And as we know in the world, like if the leaner you are, you're perceived as good looking, pretty, attractive. And the bigger you are, unfortunately, like the vast majority of the world thinks that you are less attractive. And I think during high school, especially, when you're so malleable and so easily influenced by how people think about you, that's when I started getting really into like the whole fitness YouTube, fitness social media phase. Like every Asian dude I feel like goes
Bart
through a lifting
Kwan.
phase because of fucking Bart Kwan. And that's when I started going through mine. And that's when I started
Bart
becoming
Kwan's the
like,
reason why you're bulimic. You hear that,
oh
Bart
my
Kwan?
God.
Tag
Yeah,
him in
at me,
TikTok.
bro. Yeah, so like during high school, like that's when I started working out more. I started being like counting macros and stuff like that. It was awful, and I think it just developed such an awful relationship with food. And as somebody who I love eating, I love cooking, like it's one of my biggest passions in life. I could not enjoy food anymore just because like if food wasn't food, food was just a number attached to it of what macronutrients it had. And then I wasn't really bulimic throughout high school. I just like I ate a lot, but my metabolism was pretty good that I still had self-control. That's what I'm trying to say. Then during college, my freshman fall quarter, I walked on to the rowing team. And for those of you that don't know, rowing, there are two basically divisions of it. Lightweight rowing, where you have to be below a certain weight. I believe it's like 155. Insane. Yes, that's so little.
Yeah,
like such
for a
little
guy.
weight. Yeah. And then the other one is heavyweight division, where you can weigh as much as you want. But then for me, I was not strong enough to walk onto the heavyweights, so I had to, and I was like, I think my normal stature right now, I'm 5'10 ish, 5'10, 5'11, anywhere in that range, and then
Okay, we're
weight.
flex, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? You're right. I'm not gonna round up. I'm gonna round down. I'm 5'10. I'm 5'10 and a half if we're getting specific, but I'm 5'10 and I'm proud. So I'm 5'10, usually weigh around 175, 180, around that range. And I was not big enough to comfortably be in the heavyweight zone where people are like 6'2 plus 200 pounds. So I went to the lightweight zone, and that's when you have to like start being restrictive about what you eat. Obviously, there's weight cutoffs. And then on top of that, during college, I think the term boot and rally is very common. Basically, you drink too much, you throw it all up, and you keep going, and you keep going with the vibes, right? And then, yeah, exactly. So I got really good at throwing up, and then that combined with my food problems as well as lightweight rowing, it made me so obsessed about like my physical stature that it just spiraled into me regularly. Like I would be binge eating a lot of food, then I would go out. It's hard to throw up just pure food. Then I would like go out, like chug like 3 beers with my friends as an excuse to go throw up, just because I was so like I didn't want to confront that reality. Like, oh, I'm actually throwing up because of the food I ate. It's like, oh no, I'm throwing up because I drank too much. So it's really just like hiding the whole thing. But really, I started to realize more that like throughout my sophomore year, that's when I really started to develop this like eating disorder. Luckily, I got through it, and I'm on the other side now. I'm chilling, but I should have for sure gotten some professional help, but I just felt too embarrassed to do so.
So, wow. So yeah. So basically, it was like you're trying to watch your weight. I mean, yeah, no shit, but it's like
Yeah.
you're trying to watch your weight, and then like you'll be like, crap, ate too much food tonight. I need to like go yak it on out. Like,
Yeah, essentially.
silly question, but you ever thought about eating less?
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, of course I did, bro. But I think it's like one of those things where like you don't. It's like that. You know how people say it takes a couple minutes, like 20 minutes for your brain to fully register. Oh, you're satiated. You know, so it's like because you're binge eating too, you just shovel food down within 20 minutes, and you just don't have that self-control. I know it sounds crazy from someone that's never had an eating disorder, because like eating food is such a fundamental part of being a human being. Like, yo, we've been doing that shit for millenniums, years and years and lifetimes, you know. But had like losing the ability to control that is crazy, and it's a really dehumanizing experience, because you're just like, wow, I literally can't do this normal necessity of eating a normal amount. Like, what is wrong with me?
So you overeat. You eat like more than like you need.
Yeah. Like, you eat way too much, and then you feel awful afterwards, like too full. Then that's how the process repeats.
Okay, so I eat a lot of food too. Like sometimes I overeat, I become very full as well.
Yeah.
Like when you overeat, do you like? Is it just like, oh, I feel like crap, or it's like I literally ate too much food, and it's like, holy crap. Like in a moment, you can't be like, oh, I think I'm full. Like I ate like 2 bowls of rice, 5 pounds of chicken. It's like, yeah, I think I'm at good level. Like it never occurs to you, or
Yeah, no, it's a little bit of both. Like on one hand, it is the fact that you simply truly just ate too much, like way past your comfort zone, and
Right.
like you got to yak it out. Like I'm sure people have felt that, and if they go to like some, I don't know, all you can eat Korean barbecue place or hot pot place, you're like, holy shit, I ate way too much. But then on the other hand,
me.
it's also, yeah, same. I still do that to this day. But then on
Yeah,
the other
we'll do
hand,
that.
it's
We'll do
also
that together.
oh yeah, for sure. But then on the other hand, there's also the fact that you just, the feeling is your brain tells you, oh my god, you're a fat piece of shit, dude. Like your life is gonna end because you ate too much. Like you have to get this out of your system right now. Like you're not gonna. And the sad part about this all, I was never even shredded. I never was shredded throughout this whole point. So it was like my brain was tricking me into thinking, bro, you're not gonna be shredded because you ate too much. It's like, dude, baseline, I wasn't shredded to begin with, you know. And I think so that's why I really hate keeping up with fitness content on the internet. I think it's kind of triggering for me, just because I'll say this. I think the vast majority of people that do bodybuilding as sport, they have that body dysmorphia and track their macros like crazy. I'm not going to say that you definitely have an eating disorder, but I think it's a very, very dangerous path to getting into developing an eating disorder and really ruining your relationship with food. So I do not watch any of that stuff. The closest thing I watch to that, it's more like athletic stuff. So I had a phase where I like long endurance, like in long distance endurance things. Like I did a half Ironman a couple years ago. Really enjoyed it. I like running long distances, swimming, biking, all that stuff.
Nice.
And every now and then I'll consume that type of content, but that's much better for me just because it never focuses on like macros looking shredded. Like they don't care how they look. It's just like, yeah, like do the workouts. This is my workout routine that I'm doing. It's pretty good. And I found that to be a much healthier output for me to, you know, care less, to have the workout not be solely focused on how I look at the end of it, but just about like pure athletic output. I'm not like super athletic by any means. Like I'm not really fast or anything, but like just the focus of the fitness content. But even then, I don't even watch that much fitness content anymore. I take it less seriously. I just work out to be healthy, and I don't really see myself taking time to do like another long distance. Like maybe a marathon, half marathons are okay, but I don't ever see myself being one of those people that like, I'm trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon. It's like, it's a hobby. I'm not trying to take it that seriously.
That's so interesting because like, so you were under 155 when you were
No, I never. So it's like you only have to be under 155 on race day, and the races happen in the spring. I quit the team after my freshman fall or like halfway through my freshman winter quarter, just because that's when I realized like I realized I had to quit. I had a problem. I did not want to continue rowing when one day I just finished up morning practice. I had afternoon practice coming up, and I was like, wow, I wish I could break my leg right now so I don't have to do this anymore. And that's when that once that self-harm thought came into my mind, I was like, all right, dude, this isn't it. Like, you gotta quit. And I quit that day. So
Honestly, I think that's such a just on a broader scale. When you're like, it's like your job too, right? When you wake up every single day, it's like I'd rather not wake up today and die because I don't want to go work or I want to break my leg because I want to go practice. It's like that's a telltale sign. It's like, all right, I think I get out. You know,
Yeah,
like, it ever gets
yeah.
to that point. Okay, interesting. So I guess like you kind of touched upon it already, but like was that kind of like the breaking moment in which you're like something needs to change, and how did you kind of start like I guess healing from it? Like what was that process like?
Yeah, man. Honestly, yeah. So that was at that moment I quit the team, and I was like, all right, I don't have to care about this anymore. Let's just live a normal life again. And honestly, I don't really know how I healed from it because I bounced like crazy. So by the time I quit, I was like low, like 170 maybe. Then I started just eating. Like, I still had no self control after quitting, and then I bounced all the way up to like 190, the biggest I've ever been in my life. Then I dropped back down to like 165, and then I've kind of just been chilling at like the 175, 180 range for probably the past 3, 4 years at this point. I really can't tell you how I got past it. I think, yeah, I can't even give you an answer. I got lucky because I think most people that don't get professional help, they don't get past it. And I somehow was able to do so. I don't know how, but I'm here to this day to say that I've not gone through the whole binge eating, throwing up cycle since
Yeah.
2017.
I mean, you hit a breaking point, like you said. You're like,
Yeah.
your brain was probably like, "Oh shit!" It was recognizing that it was a problem. That probably helped out a lot.
I think the sad thing is that the how I got over it was the fact that I got to a weight where even when I overeat, I don't like hate myself. For example, for myself, let's say I would start hating myself once I felt like I was hitting like the 185, 190 mark, right? But then it's like if my normal weight is 175, and even if I eat a lot, I'll maybe make it up to like 180, like with like a lot of water weight and all that stuff, like hella salty foods as well. So I'll never reach that brink of being like, wow, I feel like this big on a day-to-day basis. So in that sense, did I really heal? Like, have I truly gotten over it? Or do I say that I healed because I'm far away enough from that breaking point that I don't like teeter on the brink of relapsing again?
Yeah,
You know?
like if you ever hit 190, 200, you're gonna be like, "Oh crap."
I remember there's this one House of Cards episode, the Netflix show. One of the characters is like an alcoholic, and I think he was saying like, yeah, I'm 20 something years sober, but being an alcoholic, it's like you never not an alcoholic. You just get better and better at like fighting that off. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I feel kind of similarly. I don't think I'll ever truly not care how I look and about like what I eat as well. But I think you just get better and better at like handling it. So maybe I've just gotten better at handling it just by in general eating healthier, not going crazy with the food and just chilling at like a body status that I'm okay with and comfortable with.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I never struggled with food like that. For me, like I was trying to eat more because I was like a skinny boy for a good portion of my life. So like when I ate a lot, I was like, yeah, motherfucker, you're on the right track, dude. You better be full right now. Because I was on a bulking diet for most of my college career until like you hit 25 and you're like, oh, no more bulking. It is cutting
Yeah.
now. Because like you think you're invincible pre 25. Once you hit 25, nah, something just stops working. Your metabolism doesn't
Yeah.
go as fast anymore. The Korean barbecue sits in you for days. You feel
Yeah,
it the next
yeah.
day. But I was 21, it's like Korean barbecue for lunch, hot pot for dinner. Next day, drink all night, sleep at 5
Yeah.
a.m., wake up at 9 next day, rinse and repeat, baby. Let's go.
Yep.
But now it's like,
Yep.
dude, Korean
Yep.
barbecue at 8 p.m., I'm done. I'm done for the night. I'm done for Sunday. I'm done for the next day. It's like nothing's happening
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny because like I was never a skinny kid. I was always like on the bigger side of things, and I think that also
Really?
contributed to it as well. Yeah. I mean, like I was never
Oh.
like fat, but I was always bigger than like your typical what people like stereotypically think of like an Asian kid to be. Like I was taller than the average Asian kid, also bigger than the average Asian kid. I never had, basically, my parents would always say, yeah, growing up, we never had an issue with you and your older brother finishing your plate of food. So that was never an issue. We were big eaters in my family. And yeah, I love doing that. I love eating food and like having a good ass time over at like a nice restaurant or something.
Yeah. Oh, I love food. I never have a problem with food. Me and food, the relationship is just pure love. You know, it's like after this podcast, I'm gonna have a nice lunch. It's like I don't know about you, my time, my food right now at least. You know, I assume you're right now too. It's sacred. I detach from everything. I sit down at my desk, bust out a YouTube video, and I just eat. You know, I enjoy myself. Right? It's a sacred time. I don't like to pollute that time. It's me and food. We're having connection together.
No, absolutely. I've actually gone to the point where like I think you feel this too. My entire day is spent in front of a screen. My phone, my laptop, TV, iPad, something. So I've actually been trying to make it so that when I eat lunch or dinner, that's the one time I don't whip out my phone and watch something. I try my best. Saying, like, this is my 20-minute span just to eat food, sit down, and just think about life without a screen in front of me. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been really, really enjoying it.
Interesting. I feel like for me, it's like this is the time where I can consume entertainment and not feel guilty about it. Because usually when I'm sitting here, I'm starting to scroll on TikTok for like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, what am I doing in my life? This is why you're a failure, Andrew. This is why you need to get your shit together. You know?
My God, yeah.
But when I eat food, it's like, nah, dude, I'm eating, dude. What are you going to do about it? We're here to enjoy this time with food.
This is so tangential to the original purpose of this episode, but I'm loving it. But I actually hate watching anything while eating, because when I chew, the chewing's too loud. And then I can't hear. Oh wait, maybe that's especially true when I'm watching something with headphones in. I feel like I have to turn the volume up so much because my food chewing is so loud. I'm like, I don't feel like I can fully devote my attention to it. I think when I watch something, I like watching it. I like only watching it and being super hyper focused on it. I think same thing with food. Like when I'm eating food, I just want to be me and the food. I'm making love to the food. That's all I want to do.
Okay. Do you watch mukbang videos?
No, it's not really into that.
You don't like food sounds and shit, like chewing and like eating.
Oh, dude,
food?
when someone chews loud to me, oh my God, drives me.
Oh, really?
Fucking insane, dude.
Shit. I'm the opposite, dude. I fucking love mukbang videos, dude. Like, there are all these Korean mukbangers. Like, there's this guy, I think it's called CEO ASMR. I don't watch him as much anymore, but I used to watch him. He goes to like all these Korean 7-Elevens, GS25, and he'll like buy a shit ton of convenience food store, like spicy ramen and all this like sausage and stuff. And you just watch him like destroy the food on camera. I'm just like, fuck yeah, that's what I like, you know.
So I never watch it on my own, but I have friends that are into it, and then when we're all together, sometimes just to have something on in the background, we'll put that on. I get the appeal. I totally get the appeal.
Oh, what the fuck? That's like something I would not watch with my friends. That's like my guilty pleasure. You know, it's like something I watch in the darkness by myself. It's like one of those things where it's like if someone walks in the room I'm watching, I rather switch over to Pornhub to watch that than to have me watching this. It's like because it's easier to explain than me like imagine walking into room, there's this guy going on screen and shit, and then like you're like I can't explain why I'm watching this at fucking 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you know. Low key, you can learn so much about a person just by looking at their YouTube homepage. Like you learn so much about them, right? Like, and I realized that. So sometimes when I like talk to my friends, I check their phones. I kind of skim. Okay, I'm not stalking. Let's say we're just happen to be on their YouTube, right, on their phone. I'll just kind of skim it and be like, oh, I get you. I know what you're into now. You learn so much about a person.
It's like something comes up and they just quickly scroll past it. You're like, whoa, wait, go back. What did you just do right there?
What was that? What you watch?
I see these videos on TikTok where they're like, it's like a couple's TikTok and they're like, how many, or a challenge video where how many scrolls on a guy's phone until a thirst trap comes up?
Yeah.
Mine's pretty good. I think I'm confident that I would beat 99.999% of guys out there.
Let's do it right now. Pull up your phone. Phone. We're going to scroll through 10 videos and we're going to see what happens.
All right.
Okay, we're going to scroll past that one. All right.
Oh, you lost already, bro.
No, that one doesn't count. All right, we're going to start here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Pull your phone. All right. First one. All right. Scroll.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't count. That doesn't
That's an
count.
ad. That's an ad. You
That
can
doesn't
skip that
count.
one.
Yeah.
All right.
Scroll.
Yo, it's us. Oh, you lost.
Hold on. What was that? Yo, this is some niche shit. Okay. All right. Hear me out. These is because I'm an AI guy. These are AI generate images. All right. I'm exploring the world of AI. All right. I'm trying to understand technology. I'm trying to study AI technology. Okay. All right. My Chinese boys over in China. All right. They're studying AI. I'm supporting our people at the end of the day. I'm supporting local women businesses and supporting our AI boys. All right. We're going to end it at that.